Hello and welcome to Day 4 Notes. Today we're going to be talking about comparing data sets. Make sure that before you begin today that you have your calculator out ready to use or that you have Desmos pulled up on your computer. We will be heavily relying on the calculator today. So, we are going to be comparing 2 rounds of golf. The first thing that we want to do before we start is to press data on our calculator. We want to make sure that all 3 of the lists here are cleared out. If they're not, you can press data again and clear all your lists. Now we want to input all of our data points into our table. So we'll put in 89, press enter, 90, 87, 95, 85, 81, 101, 83, 87, 91, and 79. It's going to go into our list. When we count out how many data points we have a total of 11 data points. So when we put that into our calculator, we want to make sure that when we scroll up to the last thing that we put in, and make sure that that number right there is 11. That will verify that we have put in all the points that we need. Now we're going to go in and find out some information from these data points. So we'll do second, data, press enter for one variable stats. Our data is in list 1 and the frequency is 1. You can see here that we have our mean that comes up right off the bat. If you remember, we talked about in previous lessons that X bar represents our mean. So in our calculator, when we see that X bar, we know that we have found our mean, which is, in this case, 88. We can continue to scroll down to find our other data points. And if I continue to scroll, we can see that our median is listed right here as 87. Our minimum, 79. Scroll down some more and we can get our maximum of 101. We also have these things called lower quartiles and upper quartiles. Our lower quartile is notated by Q1, while our upper quartile is notated by Q3. Our data point or our data value for our first quartile or the lower quartile is 83, which was found from the calculator, and Q3 was found from the calculator as well, which is 91. So those are all the points that we'll be getting from our calculator. Now you can press second mode and that will take you back to the main screen. Now we would like to find the range, IQR, and MAD. Our range is found by taking our maximum value and subtracting our minimum value. So 101 minus 79, and it gives our range to be 22. To find our IQR, we'll take our upper quartile and subtract our lower quartile, so 91 minus 83, and that'll give me my IQR of 8. Now to find the MAD. The MAD takes a little bit longer to find, so get ready to write some things down. Remember, when we're finding the MAD, we're going to take our data point and subtract our mean. So we'll take our first data point of 89 and subtract our mean of 88. That gives me 1. I'm going to write these values right below our data points so that we don't lose them and forget them. We'll take our second value of 90, subtract 88. That gives me 2. 87 minus 88 gives me negative 1. Remember, we don't take negatives here. We're taking the absolute value of our number, which means only positive numbers. So instead of writing negative 1, that'll just be positive 1. My pen's not working with me. Well, that'll do. Alright. 95 minus 88 gives me 7. 85 minus 88 is going to give me another negative value. Gives me -3, but remember we only take the positive. 81 minus 88 gives me -7, but we take the positive of +7. 101 minus 88 gives me 13. 83 minus 88 gives me -5, but we'll only take the positive of +5. 87 minus 88, -1, change that to a positive. 91 minus 88 gives me 3, and 79 minus 88 gives me -9, which we will change to a positive. Now we're going to try again and calculate the MAD. So what we'll do here is add up all the point values that I've gotten at the bottom, which was the difference between my data points and the mean. And we'll add those points together. 1 plus 2 plus 1, 7, 3, 7, 13, 5, 1, 3, and 9. That gives me 52. Remember out here earlier I had 11 total value? Oops. So I have 11 total data points. So we're going to take that 52 and divide it by 11, and that'll give us our MAD of 4.73. Now we're going to go ahead and find our fences. Remember that fences are our boundary between our regular numbers and our outliers. The formula to find the upper fence is Q3 plus 1.5 times my IQR, while the formula to find my lower fence is Q1 minus 1.5 times my IQR. Now I can plug in these data values from the points that I have found previously. My Q3 value, or my upper quartile, is 91. And we will add 1.5 times my IQR of 8. Next, I need to find my lower fence, which is my Q1 value of 83. And I will not add, I will subtract 1.5 times my IQR of 8 as well. And we can do this in the main screen of our calculator. So 91 plus 1.5 times 8, and that will give me 103. And I have 83 minus 1.5 times 8, and that gives me 71. Now I need to check to see if I have any numbers that are above my upper fence of 103. And I do not, because my highest number, or my max, is 101, which is not above 103. And my lower fence is 71. I need to check for numbers below my lower fence. There's nothing lower than 71 because my minimum is 79. So for this problem, I have no outliers. Now we want to go ahead and create our box plot. If you remember from earlier, our box plot is made with the 5-number summary. Within the 5-number summary, I have the minimum, Q1, the median, Q3, and the max. All of these numbers we have found previously, but I just wanted to remind you that this is our 5-number summary. Our minimum is 79. Q1, or the lower quartile, is 83. Our median is 87. Our Q3, or upper quartile, is 91. And our maximum is 101. At each of these points on my box plot, I will draw a line. So at 79, I will draw a vertical line right here. 83. 87, 91, and 101. I'll connect my middle 3 lines into a box and extend horizontal lines out to my other 2 lines to create what some people call the whiskers. Now we're going to start to answer some questions about our graph and the information that we've found. The first question that we have here is which measure of center is best represents the data and why. So for this, I could use the mean or the median. Since there are no outliers, it doesn't matter which one. Usually when there's no outliers, we will use the mean. Now we want to describe the variation of the data. Remember that there are 3 different ways to describe the variation. We can describe the variation using our range, which we found earlier, which was 22, our MAD, found previously, which was 4.73, or our IQR, which is 8. This all speaks to how the data is spread out. There's 22 points from lowest to highest within our data set. The average distance from our mean to our points is only 4.73 units away, and the middle 50% of our data, which is the IQR, is only spread out by 8. When we're speaking of this graph, we can also say that the shape of this graph is skewed to the right. Now we're going to continue on with our second set of data, which is round 2. We're going to go back to our calculator now and input round 2 into our data set. So we can leave round 1 in list 1 and put round 2 into our second list. So we'll start out by doing that by pressing 103, enter, 85, enter, and so on. So pause the video here to input the rest of your data points. Now that we have entered all of our data points into list 2, we'll go ahead and press second data again, run one variable stats, and remember this time we put our data into list 2. So for data, we'll go over, highlight list 2, press enter. And our frequency will continue to be 1. We'll go down, press calc, and get our information. Remember that X bar represents our mean. Our mean here is 86.45. We can continue to scroll down to find our median. Our median is at 85. Our minimum, 78. Scroll down to our maximum of 103. Our lower quartile, or Q1, which is 81. And our upper quartile, Q3, which is 89. Now we can find our range, IQR, and MAD. Our range is going to be our maximum minus our minimum, which gives me 25. I forgot that one. And our IQR is our Q3, which is 89, minus Q1, which is 81 of 8. Come back to the second video to find the MAD.